I have a confession to make with you guys. I have an addiction. This is something I have been tormented with all my life. I build things all the time. It's a good thing, don't get me wrong, it's a great thing, but I am constantly building something new. So even right now, as I'm making this video, I am working on something here. This is a upper and lower control arm, and you can see there's a wheel and there's a strut in here, and this is for one of the videos I'm going to be making. And of course I have built this all on my own. You cannot buy any of this. The only thing you can buy is the strut in the center, but this is what I'm talking about. I have to build things all the time, and sometimes those things work very well. So here's the Lightning McQueen car. It runs with the receiver, controls the servo, the antenna for transmission, radio control. And sometimes those things don't work that well. So this was a project I worked on more than 12 years ago. I tried to get a skim board to install a jet drive into it. So I grabbed the motor, a battery, and I installed a impeller, and you can see what happened to it with the shells. They need a little bit of tweaking, but every once in a while I make something good enough where I feel like I should share it with someone. And by me having this YouTube channel gives me that ability to share it with the world very easily. Now, let me show you what I'm working on now. So this monstrosity of a device is something that I worked on a long time ago. These are all recycled parts, and these are from multiple projects that I have had. I usually take things apart and I put them in the bin and I store them for later use. And later use means use them now. So I have created this apparatus to be able to pan around and tilt a GoPro. So you mount the GoPro right in here and you hook this up to the back of the hitch, and you set this up with one of these electrical plugs for their trailer, and this is where it receives all its power. Now I'm gonna go over every detail in how I put this together, so if you're interested in building something similar, you have an idea in how to do it. Right here I have a very similar device, and this was prototype number 2. What I showed you before was prototype number 1, and I put these two things together a long time ago when I was first getting started in the automotive field. I constantly had to diagnose vehicles that had noises underneath, and you couldn't see what was going on. You had to physically drive it, and I was test driving police vehicles. It required you driving them at 60 or 80 miles per hour and jerking the steering wheel back and forth, and that's the only way you could get some of these noises to occur or to duplicate the noises, the complaints. So I designed these things to be able to mount them in underneath the chassis and record with the GoPro where I thought the noise was coming from, and then pinpoint where was the loose part or what was rubbing. So this is another device just like what I showed you, but it's a lot smaller. This was version number 2, and the idea was that it's smaller and I could stick it in tighter area, so it's able to pan and tilt the same way as the other one is able to. It's one of those things that I used it once or twice and then I put it in the drawer, and I figured I never would use it again. So just the other day I wanted to take some shots of the cars that we have finished in the channel, and I wanted to get some rolling shots, and those shots are kind of difficult to get because you're having to stick a camera through outside of a window, or you having to fit somebody inside a trunk, or drive with the door open. We all have seen these videos where people are stuck in behind a SUV and they have the tailgate open and they're trying to film out the SUV and they have a harness on.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
And I thought to myself, I have the solution. There's an easier way. Let me make this. So this is what I came up with. I came up with this device. So you could put this in the back of the hitch, you could hook it on, and you have power, and you're able to control the camera with a remote control. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. So I know it looks complicated, but it really isn't. So you have this plug that you get power and ground right through this plug. You see this device right here. This is a step down regulator for DC power. So 12 volts come in and only 6 volts come out. This is important to do because as you move your way from this power cord to the speed controller, this is all designed to work with your radio control vehicles. This is what I'm talking about. I take things apart and I save them for a later project. So this is a speed control for your electric motor to move your electric motor on your RC car. And this is the receiver. And with this remote control, I am able to control this whole device. Now, this servo right here, this is from another project that I had, that I turned a Power Wheel car into a radio control car. I did this a long time ago before they were actually doing this and selling them to everyone. I probably was the first or one of the first people to do that. You can see this is a servo right here, and this is designed for a sailboat, believe it or not. I remember when I picked this up, I went to the hobby shop and the guy said, what are you making? And I said, I am making a radio control Power Wheel car, and I want to use this for the steering. And the guy told me that would never work. Good luck, buddy. Here we have the servo. I made this bracket. There you go. That's what you get. It did work. So obviously that guy was wrong. So, and these are all servos. So these work the same way as this guy, but this guy in here, it's more like a gear down motor. So that's why I'm using the speed control to control that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook this guy up and show you exactly how it works. All right, so let me show you how this works. So of course you slide it into your hitch, and you have this plug, and you just plug it right in. Now, nothing is energized until you turn on your headlights, of course. So we're gonna go ahead and turn on our headlights, and I'm gonna turn on the controller and check this out. So I have full control of the tilt, and I could sit here and pan it. Now you can see it is a little slow in panning it around, and it's because the motor that I have it set up in, it has a gear in there. So this motor is designed for more of like of a torque application. So it multiplies the rotation. So it's a high torque motor, but I am able to pan and tilt it to whatever direction I want. And let me show you what it looks like when I have the GoPro on. So you can see with a device like this, you're able to control it from a remote area, and you could angle it exactly where you needed it to be. If the car is a little bit further back, you could move the angle of the camera where it's recording right where the car is and start recording. The only downside with this is because the gear ratio on the panning is so slow, it takes a while for it to move all the way to the left or to the right. But that could be adjusted depending on the type of motor you would use. You can see this one's a lot quicker in the respawn, and it spins a lot quicker. So this one is more agile, and you can see what I could do with it. And it works very well. So you would mount the GoPro here, and that's what I have that for. So you could put the GoPro there, and then you could get some shots with it. If you wanted to pull this off, it would be very easy to do. It wouldn't take much effort. You can see I just have a tripod right now hooked up to it. I used to put a magnet under there, and I would hook that up somewhere in the vehicle or in the chassis, and that would work just fine. So I put the GoPro on just to show you what it would look like. So, and you could also adjust it through here through the remote. So let's say if you wanted to tilt it a little bit more and it wasn't in the correct angle, you're able to fine tune it and make it swivel forward or swivel back, and it stays there. So I'm not touching the remote and it's staying there. you see how well this device works. Now I am considering installing this linear actuator so I could actually extend the camera out and physically get it closer towards the cars, because of course the GoPro does not have a zoom. And can you imagine if I was able to do that, if I was able to physically just get closer to the car, the shots that you would get, they would be amazing. Now down in the description, I'm going to have a parts list of all these parts that you could purchase on Amazon, and I'll have everything linked down there just in case you want to put something like this together. But don't be surprised if in the near future I combine both of these, something in between this guy and this guy, and I actually sell this product, because I think this is a winner. I think there is a market for this, and more than likely I'll probably make them and sell them. So keep an eye out for that if I decide to go that route. I would like the remote to be more stationary, so you could hang it up on the dash somewhere and you could just remote control it through there instead of having to hold it with your hand, so one person could easily do it. If you had two in the vehicle, you could control it with no problem, but if it's just one person and you're having to look over and grab the remote and toggle it back and forth to be able to pan it or tilt it, it gets a little overwhelming at times. You have to slow down to be able to angle the camera just right. There are some tweaks that I want to make before I bring this product to market, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to do that yet or not. So if you found this video useful or helpful in any type of way, you should always subscribe, because you never know what I'm going to do next. Check this out, guys. It's a little baby rabbit.